Guys, it's Monday evening. That means we're going to spend time with one of the sharpest knives in the boxing drawer, Big Rick Glaser.
Can smell manly if you listen to Real Talk with Rick Glaser.
Guys, welcome. Happy Monday to all of you guys. And I tell you what, we're coming to you a little bit earlier than usual. But guys, it wouldn't be a Monday evening if we weren't, conversing with the real OG, someone who made his presence felt at the Allegiant Stadium the Saturday before last. Guys, I'm referring to Big Rick Glaser. Rick, how are you doing, brother?
Good, Joe. Glad to be back for another hard-hitting Monday night.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'm hoping that this runs a lot smoother than, Jerry Jones' defense yesterday. Holy shnikes. Oh, I should say Coach Schittenheimer. Chingao, man, that was terrible. Did you see that?
They lost 31-14, I believe,
to the Bears, the 0-2 Bears.
Yeah. I tell you what. I think they should start making bumper stickers. Please return professional football back to Dallas.
Oh, geez, you said it, man. Good Lord, man, that was terrible. And Gomez, welcome to the show. Sorry, says Cowboys in trouble. Yes, that's right. And he also says Rick Nostradamus. I tell you what, guys, it's time for my favorite segment. Here we go, guys.
Maybe, just maybe, it's time for Rick Glaser's Twitter Watch. Bang!
No? Did you see it, Rick?
No, what was it?
No,
maybe, just maybe, it's time for Rick Glaser's Twitter Watch. Bang!
Very good.
Well, there it is. There it is, guys. And we're going to start off with this one that he tweeted out yesterday, right? And he said this: please follow this boxing theory closely. I had always thought Errol Spence was a hype job. I have been a huge believer in Terence Crawford's greatness since approximately 2014. I had publicly predicted that Crawford would beat Spence and a lot easier than anyone would believe. And that's exactly what happened on July 29th, 2023. Maybe Spence wasn't that shot. It could be that Crawford was simply that much better and stronger than Spence. Because after I watched Crawford dominate Canelo in person, then on Reply, where in fact I saw Crawford pushing around Canelo, a Canelo that is 3 weight classes above Spence. Terence Crawford's ability, balance, and strength did in Errol Spence. It wasn't Spence being that shot after all. Crawford was just simply way too much for any version of hype job Errol Spence. That Canelo fight absolutely proved that for Terence Crawford. Enjoy your Sunday. So what you're saying is, Errol Spence, you think he's going to make a comeback and you think he's going to fight Jermell Charlo?
Well, I'm not saying he's not shot after that beatdown, but I don't think he was that shot before the fight. I think that fight was a reflection on just how great Crawford is, how excellent his balance is, how fast the combination of Terence Crawford. That's the way I got to look at it.
Okay, well, I tell you what. Let's do the litmus test here. Then I'm gonna throw out some welterweights for you. Okay, you tell me who he
Mhm.
beats. Okay,
Who
Paul Williams.
who
Paul Williams at 147.
who beats him?
Terrence Crawford.
Absolutely beats Paul Williams. Not even a question in my mind.
Antonio Margarito at 47.
Absolutely beats him.
Okay. Floyd Mayweather Jr. at 147.
Beats him. Doesn't have enough offensive artillery to keep Terrence Crawford off him. And Terrence Crawford's got better balance in close, like on the inside and stuff like that. His balance is unbelievable. His strength.
Okay. Let's do Manny Pacquiao at 147, the guy who beat up Miguel Cotto. And let's just even talk about 140, the guy who beat up Ricky Hatton in 3 rounds. Manny Pacquiao.
I like Terrence Crawford, but it's a fight.
Yeah, that's a prime Manny Pacquiao. That's a real fight.
It's a real fight.
Tough.
Yep. Because
Okay.
he's got offense with both hands. That's why.
Yep, and his footwork would present problems.
Yep. But that's a fight. I mean, I don't know who'd win, but it's definitely a fight.
Let's go a little bit deeper. Let's do Oscar De La Hoya at 54 and 47.
Oscar had 6 losses, so I'd have to say Crawford, just because he had the 6 losses.
Okay. Let's go a little bit deeper then. Roberto Duran, when he beat Sugar Ray Leonard at 47 the first time.
Nobody was beating Roberto Duran that night. I don't give a fuck if it's Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard. I don't care if it's King Kong. Nobody was gonna beat him that night.
Yep, I agree. That version of Roberto Duran, boy, that's all-time great stuff right there. Okay, Tommy Hearns at 47.
I don't know. That height throws me off a little bit, and the big booming long right hand. Yep. I don't know. I would hate to try to figure, just like I would hate to have to figure Donald Curry at 147 and Terrence Crawford, because at 147, remember when he got knocked out by the Englishman, he couldn't make the weight anymore. He just was completely drained. But the great Donald Curry at 147 and Terrence Crawford's a toss-up.
Wow, Donald Curry. Boy, that dude could fight. Hold on, Boxing Scholar. He's got something to say to you. He said, bye and welcome to the show, Boxing Scholar. Good to see you, man. He says, Ray Robinson could beat Durant. What?
And the night Durant, let me say this. The night that Duran beat Leonard, okay, on June 20th, 1980, he could have beaten any 147 pounder ever on that evening, the way he fought. That's all there is to it.
Okay, now we're getting to Sugar Ray Leonard at 147.
I like Leonard a little bit more than I do Terrence in that fight, but it's a real fight. No different than Donald Curry and Terrence.
Okay. Last one, Marvin Hagler at 160 in his prime.
Okay, we don't know because Crawford has never fought at 160. Fought at 54 and then 68. We don't know. Who do I like? I actually like Terrence for a particular reason, because Ray Leonard gave him all kinds of problems at 160 with the foot speed, and I think Terrence has got very nimble feet. We saw that the other night.
Okay, Terrence against an unbeaten John the Beast Mugabe at 54.
I don't know. Mugabe's the kind of guy, he hits you one time and gets you out of there.
Yep.
So it's hard to say. If he got hit one good shot, Mugabe would probably win, but I don't know. It's a very tough fight, but I like that fight.
He was a beast at junior middleweight. Okay, guys, that's enough of Fantasyland. We're going back to his tweet watch, and he said this. This was a day ago. He said, in honor of the great Terrence Crawford, the greatest fighter of his era, and ATG. I'll be attending Terrence's hometown victory celebration in Omaha next Saturday. I've never been to Omaha, Nebraska, but it's a great reason to go. Looking forward to all the festivities. #boxing. Let me tell you, Rick, most people don't realize this. I've got relatives in Omaha, and it is a fantastic community. I always loved
You
visiting.
know, it's a funny thing. Since I've told people, I never knew that. And since I told people that I'm going to Omaha on Saturday, they said, well, they've never been there, but they heard great things about it, or they said they've been there and it's great. Nobody complains. I mean, everybody says it's best place in America for steak, best place in America for a piece of beef, period. People said the community's nice, the people are friendly, and listen, a lot of famous people are from Omaha. People don't, besides Warren Buffett, Terrence Crawford, and the Fred Astaire, Dick Cavett,
That's
Johnny
right. Most people
Carson,
don't know that. That's right.
Johnny Carson, a whole bunch of famous people. I'm trying to think. The actor Clift, the famous actor, what's the last name? Was Clift. He's from there. There's a lot of famous people from there. So
I'll tell you
I'm
what, guys.
looking forward to going.
Yeah, it's a special place in my heart. When I was a kid, I used to love visiting and going with my uncle. He used to work at the old Kellogg's factory, the Kellogg's plant there in Omaha, Nebraska. Also used to love going to the College World Series at Rosenblatt Stadium. Yes, that's the home of the College World Series. Also, fun fact, I saw when I was really little, I was only 5 years old, I saw Elvis's second to last concert in Omaha, Nebraska.
Nice.
Yep, there it is. So while you're there, man, pick yourself up a nice, big, fat, homemade Runza burger. They are the very best, and I wish we had them anywhere outside of Omaha, Nebraska. But that's the only place you can get it, so enjoy, brother. But I tell you what are you expecting Terrence Crawford to announce? Because let me just tell you what his coach, Bernie Davis, a.k.a. Bernie the Boxer, he said this. Man, Canelo doesn't want any more of Terrence Crawford. Like, honestly, we have his number now. Like, towards the end of the fight, Terrence figured him out, and he's got no doubt he would stop him if they had a rematch, because I don't think Canelo wants another piece of that. I think he knows that Terrence figured out Canelo Alvarez, and he doesn't want to go there again.
I wrote a tweet to that effect.
Really?
But nothing to do. I didn't know Bernie said that. Take a look at my tweets. Yeah, today I believe, sometime today or last night or something.
Oh, wow.
Take a look at it.
Okay, I got it here. I'm going to win this. Or I'm going to read this. This was 8 hours ago. Rick said this, seeing that many are talking about the possibility of Crawford and Canelo doing a rematch, it will only get worse in a rematch for Canelo. As history shows in boxing rematches, the more athletic fighter, coupled with the higher ring IQ, wins 90% of the time. Now, that's true, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I mean, going back
I didn't say it because it was false.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Hawker Mustang. I just think Canelo is washed. Brother, you were riding his jock before this fight. Come on, man. Don't get off the bandwagon just because he got whooped by Crawford. Come on now. Hawkers also says, Rick, I think it's time to feed Canelo to David Benavidez. Rick, is there any demand for that fight any longer?
I think there's demand for it, but it's obviously diminished, especially what's his name's at 175 and can't come down. And you saw what happened with Canelo and Crawford. If I had Canelo, I'd be looking to fight the winner of Chris Eubank and Connor Bennett. The fight coming up.
Hey, that's exactly what our brother G Funky said last night when we conversed. He said, yep, he thinks he's going to fight Chris Eubank Jr. That is if Chris Eubank Jr. wins again, which is a big if. But look, I think he's going to win because he's not doing the same ridiculous rehydration clauses in this matchup. At least that's what Double T Thomas Triber told me. He's going to be doing the calling for that fight. Congratulations, Thomas. He deserves it. He's one of the hardest working guys I know in this business, aside from you, Big Rick. Thomas
Thank
is
you.
a real pro. And this is what Rick Glaser had to say 4 hours ago. He said this: Top Ranks Hall of Fame matchmaker Brad Goodman, regarding Terrence Crawford's huge win over Canelo, he said this, quote, "I wasn't surprised at all. I know what type of fighter he is, and I know what makes him tick, his competitiveness. And he wants to always prove his doubters wrong, wants to be the best at whatever he's doing. He's an absolute winner in and out of the ring. Despite his great success, he's the same great guy and great family man. Everyone should be rooting for this guy. I'm proud to know him. Thank you, Brad. Hashtag boxing." You know what? That had to really pain everyone at Top Rank, though, because they knew this.
It didn't pain Brad because he goes by the fighter. He doesn't go by the company, whatever you want to call it, the company signature. He goes by how he feels. He's a very forward guy, and he spoke the truth.
Well, no. I'm saying that they wish that this had happened on Top Rank's dime because they knew this. They knew what they had the entire time. Everyone there did. And it really was painful to hear Terrence Crawford kind of go in on Bob Arum when they went through great measures to try and secure Terrence there as long as they possibly could. And you know this to be true. I know this to be true. And they were trying to get into big fights, but yeah, it was virtually impossible with Al Heyman having a lockdown on all of the other 47-pound fighters.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant by that. Brad knew what he had the entire time. So did Bob. So did Todd. So did everyone there. So have you heard anything more from Top Rank, Big Rick?
No, they're silent.
Oh, geez, I know. That's not good. I tell you what, though, with the final 12 minutes on the show, let's hear all about your big trip to Vegas. Oh, was it a rat race like I thought it would be? It sure looked like it. 70,000 strong in Allegiant Stadium. How was fight week for you, brother? And what grade would you give?
I had a great time. There was fights Wednesday night, Thursday night, Turkey El Sheik put on, and then the Saturday night, the big fight with him and Dana White put on. It was all good. We had a great time.
So what grade would you give those that fight week organization? And what did you think of Jean Zettel blasting Dana White publicly?
Who's Jean Zettel?
Jean Zettel, he was the journalist, one of the only journalists to actually ask real journalist questions at the press conference.
I don't know. I don't even know who he is. Never heard of him. Who does he write for?
He used to write for Fight Hype. Now he's an independent, and he was the one who was standing up Dana White, asking him about the Muhammad Ali boxing.
Oh, Sean Zettel.
Sean Zettel, yes.
Oh, yeah. He's a friend of mine. I thought you said Jean. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Great guy. Nothing. I put a tweet out about it. Nothing but respect for Sean for what he did.
Were you a bit surprised that Dana White didn't entertain any of those questions at all?
You knew Dana White was flustered when he was shouting back and
Oh boy, poor Dana.
It's a bad entrance into the boxing business when you're trying to get rid of the Ali Act. That doesn't say much for your company.
No, in fact, I'm surprised he wasn't run out of town. But do you think he realizes by now that he's just a puppet promoter for Turkey El Sheik? Kind of like the way Lou DiBella was with Al Heyman?
I don't know what he realized. I don't know the man, so it's hard to know what he realizes.
So tell us more about your experience there at Las Vegas during the big fight week.
It was great. There was nothing negative. It was all good, positive. I placed some quality bets on a few things and won them all, except one had a draw, so it was a push. Which was Lester Martinez and what's his name, Christian Mabili. I had picked Lester Martinez and for the upset, and he didn't it was a draw, but it was, it was legit. It was good. It was a good draw. It was what I call a good draw. Um, all good. I mean, there was nothing negative. Found a new restaurant out there, Italian restaurant in the Sierra Hotel called Bala, Balla, and it was fantastic, reasonably priced. It was great food. It was no negativity. It was great time the whole time we were there.
Now, there were a lot of people who were watching it from their TV sets, and they were a bit surprised that with the big crowd there, it wasn't just raucous while Christian Mbili and Lester Martinez were throwing down. And I'm saying that's not what I heard. Was that the case when you were there, Rick?
What do you mean? What I don't.
Was the
What was
crowd
the?
here? Listen, G Funky said the crowd sounded dead on the Netflix broadcast, but that wasn't the case live, was it?
No, it wasn't at all. They were pretty loud in that fight because they were throwing so many punches. People were oohing and eyeing, and they were oohing and oh wow, like that. They weren't cheering as much as they were like talking.
Oh, I tell you what, it was an amazing fight. What did you think of Brandon Adams's eye-opening performance and beating Sergey Bovic a
Well,
second
he
time?
did it. He did it the first time they fought it about 3-4 years ago. So, he just got his number.
Yeah. So what's next for Sergey Bovic? Does he move up to 60?
I have no idea if he's comfortable making the weight or not. But if I was him, I would stay clear. I wouldn't be in the same room as Brandon Adams if I was him.
Oh boy, I tell you what, Brandon Adams, boy, that was very, very impressive. I love his gas tank. I love his heart. I tell you what, what's next for Brandon Adams? Who would you like to see him fight next at 54?
Him and Charles Conwell.
Ooh, gosh, you're a great matchmaker there, Rick. That's a good call, brother. That's a good call. So with this big victory, who do you see Terrence Crawford fighting next? Because I think I'm with you. I think Canelo goes the path of least resistance, and he goes for a beat up Chris Eubank Jr. after 2 hard fights with Conor Benn. Where do you see Terrence Crawford going after this?
I don't know. Nobody. He don't know.
Yeah, honestly, and so there's news, right, that Janabek Ali Manala is very close to striking a deal with almost by default, because neither one of these guys are ticket sellers. Carlos Adames in a unification bout at 160, trying to bait Terrence Crawford into fighting them. But what are the chances of that fight happening? Is there going to be enough gold at the end of the rainbow for Terrence Bud Crawford?
Yeah, I think there would be. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Where would you put that fight, Rick, if you were promoting that event?
Vegas.
You think that's a Vegas fight? You think
Yes, I
Terrence,
do.
his level of attraction has increased that much to where, it would be a big Vegas fight?
There was 200 actresses and actresses there, and people from other sports. Absolutely.
Very good. I tell you what, I love to see it. Love to see it because, look, to the victor should go the spoils. And if anyone's paid their dues in this business and in this sport, it's Terrence Crawford. It's time. It's time he gets recognized, because how long has he been overlooked by pretty much everyone in this business?
I don't think he's overlooked it as much as he was avoided.
That's what I'm referring to, sir.
Yeah, that's been a long time. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yep.
He's been. I'll figure it out for you. 2018.
Probably before then, because Mikey didn't want to fight him at 35.
Yeah.
Manny didn't want to fight him at 40 or at 47. He jumped ship. When Top Rank wanted to put that fight together after the Jeff Horn fight, he jumped ship.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Oh my goodness. I tell you what, Rick. Did you happen to see any of the press conference today between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis?
No. It's exhibition boxing, and I don't pay any attention to exhibition boxing.
Oh, brother. So once again, I heard there's going to be a big announcement this week. There's going to be an opponent announced for a big homecoming for Agit Kabayel in Germany. And I'm hearing it's a big. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Nice. Who did you hear?
I heard it's the big Albanian, the guy who's 40 years old and who's got 19 knockouts out of 21 victories, 21-0 at 19 knockouts. Heavy-handed Albanian. His name is Nelson Husa, spelt Hysa.
I know him. I could beat him if he owed me money. I'd be even money. Come on.
You really think so? He's tough. He's tough, Rick. You don't think he's got a chance?
You got no chance with Cabral. None.
Really? You think he's just too old? He's going to go out with a body shot like the Big Bang Zhang.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. Listen, Cabral, the only two fighters in the world that I would not favor Cabral would be against three fighters right now. I wouldn't favor him against Usyk. I wouldn't favor him against these are not fighters are not retired. I would not favor him with Usyk. I would not favor him with what's his name? Moses Atuma. Yeah, and I don't think I'd favor him with Joseph Parker. I'd favor him with everybody else, including Dubois and Joshua.
Well, because there's a very good chance he's going to be fighting if he gets past Husa. He's going to be.
He'll get past Usa.
Well, then there's a very good chance he may be fighting the winner of Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley. Does Fabio Wardley have a chance, or does he have too many holes?
He's got too many holes, but he can get you out of there. He's a heavy-handed guy, as we saw in his last fight.
Yep.
He's got some speed, so but he doesn't have the experience that Parker has, and Parker's pretty relaxed in there. I like Parker a lot in the fight, but you don't know. You could hit Parker on the chin, and game's over.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. We've saved the best for last, Rick. And this is something that everyone's been clamoring for. And I want to get your thoughts on this. Please be as candid and as revealing as you possibly can, because I would like to write an article about this one. Turkey Al Sheikh, he wants to see Terrence Crawford fight David Benavidez possibly at 68. 1, can David Benavidez make the weight? And 2, does Terrence Crawford take the bait?
No, fight's not happening. He can't make 68. Terrence Crawford's not going to fight at 68 against a guy who's 6'3". A guy's 5'7". He fought, not 6'3".
So what you're saying is no chance in hell, like Vince McMahon.
I don't see it.
Oh boy. So what are the options then for Terrence Crawford? You think? Go ahead.
Fishy leg if he wins. A rematch with Canelo after that, and then a going away fight in Omaha against whoever he wants to fight.
So what do you think about the possibility of him facing Hamza Shiraz?
Not happening.
Not happening.
Another 6'3" guy.
Yeah, I can tell you're really excited about the 6'6" Sebastian Fundora versus Keith Thurman, because I can tell you've been wanting to talk about that all 30 minutes since we only have about 45 seconds left, or I'm sorry, 15 seconds left. What are your thoughts very quickly on this matchup, sir?
Thurman's going to get baked, cooked, barbecued, and sent to the shit house.
That sounds like my Cowboys yesterday.
Yes.
Big Rick, we're about done, brother. Thank you so much for your time. As usual, 30 minutes just flew by, my friend. Do you have any parting shots for our listening audience?
I asked you for 60, and you told me your people couldn't put up with me for 60.
Yeah. Oh, stop it, man. You know, man, it's
I'll,
you're
s- I'll, I'll
go
see
ahead.
you next Monday, okay?
God bless you, my
Thanks for
friend.
having me. It's been a pleasure, like always. Okay?
You're a gentleman,
Bye-bye.
Rick. Thank you, my friend.
Bye-bye.
God bless you, brother. Guys, that was Rick Glaser. What a gentleman. Tell you what, love talking to Rick. I wish we had him on for 2 hours, to be honest. Um, guys, look, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on here, guys. I'm going to take a little momentary break, play an ad from my channel, God's Perfect Love, and I'm going to drop the link. If any of you guys would like to join me, please click on the link. In the interim, I'm going to put on an ad, a short public service announcement from my channel, God's Perfect Love. So here it is, guys.
This is why you need faith to shield you from temptation. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, we're reminded, no temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. We don't have to wrestle with sin on our own. Our strength may falter, but God's power is endless. Trust in Him, lean on His wisdom, and have faith that our Heavenly Father will deliver us from every evil and temptation. Remember, with God by your side, you are never alone in your battle. Turn to Him and find the strength to overcome.
Thank you, guys. That was a public service announcement from my channel, guys. And as usual, all of these shows are brought to you by our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world and grants us mercy, peace, and everlasting life. If you haven't already, guys, please surrender your life to Jesus Christ, guys, and experience fulfilling peace and love that surpasses your level of understanding and perception, guys. Highly recommended. It's the only way to live the presence of God within you. Thanks be to God. Thank you, Jesus Christ, for saving us from eternal damnation. Tell you what, guys, look, hold on. QT, welcome to the show. And he says, SMH, don't want to see Dave Benavides versus anyone but Beevil for Undisputed. If not, why take the... Exactly, brother. Thank you. Finally, someone on this board who has some common sense. Why are you guys calling for Terrence Crawford versus Dimitri Bivol or David Benavides? Come on, the fight to make, guys, is Dimitri Bivol versus David Benavides for Undisputed. Come on. That's just common sense. Hold on, Hawker Mustang says this. Let's see. Let's remember Crawford was interviewed about fighting Pacquiao when Pacquiao was at 147. And Crawford said he would have to come down to 140. Dude, stop it. He moved up and knocked out Jeff Horn. He's been chasing Manny Pacquiao since he was at 35. What are you smoking, brother? That's ridiculous. That's the fight that he wanted. He wanted Lomachenko at 35. He wanted Lomachenko at 40. He wanted Mikey Garcia at 35 and 40. He wanted Manny Pacquiao at 40 or 47. Guys, he's been wanting the big fights for the past 10 years. And he finally got it, and look what happened. Yeah, that same Terrence Crawford. What really pissed me off is when he started blaming Bob Arum for him not getting those fights. I'm like, look, there's only so much he can do. You can't put a gun to a fighter's head and force him in the ring. And when you're not a big ticket seller, and he blamed that on Bob Arum as well. I'm like, what more can Bob do? If he's making you a headliner on both HBO and ESPN, what more can he do? If the other perceived best at 147 want a small fortune to fight you, and it's guaranteed to be a money loser for everyone involved except the fighters, it's not going to happen, guys. Once again, think about this logically. Why didn't Bivol and Beterbiev happen 5 years ago? Why didn't it happen 5 years ago when everyone was clamoring for it? Because there wasn't enough money. Neither guy's a big ticket seller. That's a big problem. But because they're two of the best fighters of this era, they demanded and deserved a lot of money, which wasn't there. That's why the fight didn't happen until Turki Al-Sheikh decided, hey, you know what? I'll lose the money. It's not a big deal. We can print as much as we want. I'll take a ding just to see this fight become a reality. That's the only reason why we saw two fights with Bivol and Beterbiev. Guys, Top Rank wasn't going to do it. Matchroom wasn't going to do it, or else it would have happened earlier. And that was the same thing with Terence Crawford. And he blamed everything on Bob. Oh, he's not promoting me properly. Look, guys, as much as I love Terence in the ring, he's a serious pain in the ass outside of it. And that's the truth. Who do you think realistically he's going to face after making $50 million against Canelo Alvarez? And how much do you think he's going to want or expect to face the winner of Carlos Adames and Janabek Ali Manala in a unification at 160? There's not enough money in the pot, guys. Oh, stop it, Hawker. Now you sound like a know-nothing fan. Crawford spent most of his career cherry-picking little scrubs. Dude, look, this is why I can't stand the resume argument, okay? Because fans don't know the business of it. When in reality, resumes, records are contingent upon who your promoter puts in front of you in the ring. Crawford can't do anything about that. Crawford spent most of his career cherry-picking. Dude, he can only fight whoever's in front of him, his promoter puts in front of him. And unfortunately, that takes two promoters and two sides. No one wanted to face it. He was considered by everyone, and this is why I brought up with Rick. Everyone in the business considered him too much risk for the reward, including Keith Thurman, including Errol Spence for the longest time, including Sean Porter, including Floyd Mayweather Jr., including Manny Pacquiao. Dude, Manny Pacquiao should have been fighting Terence Crawford and not Keith Thurman. Ching out, dude. Streets of Cali, welcome to the show. Khan, Brooke, Porter, Spence, Canelo is the best resume in boxing. These clowns don't know nothing about boxing. Well, look, guys, resumes, records, and trinkets are for fans, writers, and network executives who don't understand what they're looking at in the ring just yet. That's the reality. That's the reality, guys. And that was told to me, a great piece of advice from the late, great Emmanuel Stewart, and he was right. When Manny Pacquiao was shot and old, oh, stop it. No, he never agreed to fight Crawford. Stop it. Freddie Roach knew better. Freddie Roach and Al Heyman knew better. He didn't want to have anything to do with Terence Crawford. You guys know that. Once again, guys, don't sing it. Bring it. Come up on the show with me. Come on, Hawker. Come on and tell me how much Terence Crawford was a cherry pick. Usyk or Crawford? What do you mean? Who's best number one pound for pound? Who do I think? I don't think it's Usyk or Crawford. One, I would never put Usyk in a pound for pound ranking because he's a heavyweight. It's already understood that the best heavyweight on the planet is the best fighter. He could beat it. It defeats the purpose of making a pound for pound list. Go check out the origin of pound for pound list. So who do I think the best pound for pound fighter is? Crawford? No, I think it's Naoya Inoue. I think it's Naoya Inoue. He's in his prime and he's facing the best fighters right now. who are in their respective prime. Did you see his performance against MJ Akhmadaliev? That was a masterclass, guys. Now, I know Crawford put up a great performance against Canelo, but guys, Canelo, he shot. I don't know about shot, but guys, he's not in his prime, far from it. And we told you guys as much going into this fight. The boxing caller says, Bud Easy. Come on, man. Come on. Someone join me, guys. Because I'm tired of talking to the chat. Yeah. Yep. You can't put heavyweights in pound for pound. That's right. You can't. Thank you, Streets of Cali. You can't. Who has that guy fought that you say is number one? Nobody. Who has that guy fought? Oh, Naoya Inoue? Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, you just negated every good thing that you said. Naoya Inoue. Okay, brother. Look, I tell you what. When you've been watching boxing for longer than 2 or 3 years, then you can talk to me. How's that? Ocker Mustang says, Usyk deserves to be pound for pound at number one, much more. Oh, dude, who put Mike Tyson number one? Dude, these are heavyweights. Go look at your boxing history as to why the pound for pound list was even a thing. Go look it up, guys. Usyk's Daniel Dubois performance was flawless. I don't know about flawless, but it was damn well, and that was damn near impressive. I mean, beautiful performance. And honestly, he's an all-time great. He truly is. By far the best of this era. Tyrese Bowie. Now you're talking some sense, brother. 1A, 1B, 1C. Problem solved. Hey, that sounds good to me, brother. You need to do some research on Crawford. Dude, I've been covering this sport longer than you've been watching it. Stop it. DeMarcus Hill says, hey, well, once again, thank you for hanging with us, DeMarcus. He says, I believe you can. You believe you can what? Please clarify, my friend. I do want to know what you're saying. Bud would say Usyk is number one pound for pound and vice versa. Look, in my opinion, you cannot put a heavyweight in a pound for pound list. It defeats the purpose of pound for pound. This is a list for the lower weight divisions. It's already understood that the baddest man on the planet is the best heavyweight in the world, guys. That's reality. Hawker Mustang, just stop, dude. Stop it now. You're embarrassing yourself. Crawford wanted the closest he's been wanting. Like ever since he signed with Top Rank, he wanted that Manny Pacquiao fight. This is a guy who's fearless. And he wants the biggest swinging dick in the ring. Usyk is a cruiserweight beating monster heavyweights. Well, it looks like what did he weigh in his last fight? 229? That's not a cruiserweight, brother. To the chat, Streets of Cali. Heavyweight are the best fighters in the world. Pound for pound list was created for the... Yes, thank you. That's common sense. Thank you, Streets of Cali. That's common sense, guys. That's why the pound for pound list was created. Goodness gracious, guys. Do some research, man. Come on. Guys, did you happen to see... Hold on. Refugio, good to see you, my friend. Your boy, the Boxing Source, was at the Gervonta Tank Davis Jake Paul press conference wearing a yellow ash shirt. You got to talk to him about style. Look, that's pointless, Refugio. Thank you for pointing that out. Look, James is one of the best guys I know. He's got a heart of gold, and he's a very smart individual. He's a techie. He's a tech guy. He doesn't care anything about style. This is a guy who posed with Ronnie Shields for a photo for this show in a wife beater. Yeah, he couldn't care less about that stuff. And once again, he's a tech genius. He's one of the smartest guys I know. He's a brilliant man. And he's one of the best real journalists in boxing still. Guys. But yeah, thank you for sharing that, Refugio. That's hilarious. Guys, what do you think about the farce? That's Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul. Did you see the face-off, guys? Like, that's all I saw. And the only reason why is because it came in my feed and someone pointed it out to me. Tank Davis looked like he didn't want to be there. Like he thought, oh gosh, what am I doing here? Did anyone else get that same feeling, that same vibe that Tank really wanted to be anywhere else but there? Did you get that same idea, guys? Tank looked like he couldn't care less about this fight. And that's the way he looked at the Lamont Roach fight as well, press conference. And even during the fight at times. Guys, he's already checked out. That's why he's fighting Jake Paul. He doesn't care. He wants his paycheck. And to be honest, I wish this were a real fight. I'd actually be rooting for Jake Paul. I hope Jake Paul puts it on him. To be honest. This is a guy who thinks boxing owes him. Or he thinks boxing is to blame for his domestic abuse and his anger tendencies. Yeah, look, Streets of Cali, 5 years ago, I would have tried to probably stick up for him, but you cannot stick up for him at this point. He doesn't want to have anything to do with the sport of boxing any further. He's got 1 foot in retirement, and I've been telling you guys this for a long time. I told you guys back in July, when everyone was talking about the rematch with Lamont Roach, I told you guys it's not going to happen. He's going to be fighting Jake Paul in November. And what happened? I'm pretty good at this, guys. So what would you guys like to talk about? What would you guys like to talk about? Because if no one comes up here, I'm just going to stay on for the next 12 minutes. I'm going to do an hour show and I'm going to leave. What would you guys like to talk about? Would you guys like to talk about November 8th? Oh, wait a minute. Who did Ring Magazine? Dude, stop it, man. The precedent. That's what you mean to say, the precedent. Got it. Guys, stop it. I don't care about any of that stuff. Ring Magazine can say all they want. Look, last month, they still had Devin Haney in the top 10 pound for pound. You think I'm going to consider what these ham and eggers have to say? Guys, they actually allowed that moron Michael Montero to write for the Ring. You think I'm going to give 2 shits about what they have to say? No. Guys, I've forgotten more about boxing and the business of it than all of these guys in the ring put together. Those guys don't know shit. And that's from the heart. DeMarcus says this. Is Beterbiev too old now to beat David? In fact, no, guys. No. DeMarcus, here's a hint. Have you heard David Benavidez calling out Arthur Beterbiev? Have you heard him calling out the hard-punching badass from Canada, from Montreal? How many times have you heard Beterbiev calling out David Benavidez? Guys, David or Jose Sr. understands that is quite possibly the worst style matchup for his son. Guys, Beterbiev, even at age 40, would whip his ass and carve him like a Thanksgiving turkey. Take that to the bank. That's the truth. That's why you never hear David Benavidez calling out Arthur Beterbiev. So now you know. Streets of Cali says, Floyd says He is opening to have a real fight, open to having a real fight. It's a damn shame no one wants to pay for it or see it. Blaze, thank you so much for saying that. Guys, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Holmes versus Lennox Lewis. Who you got? Honestly, that is a great fight. Prime for prime. I don't know. I really don't know. Both guys were badasses. I would have to say, honestly, oh, geez. I don't know. Both guys had terrific jabs. Both guys had very good athleticism. Both guys had extremely high ring IQ. Well, look, Holmes had the edge in footwork. Holmes had the edge in a more intelligent jab. Holmes had the edge in chin. Lennox Lewis had the edge in power. Gosh, that's a tough one, guys. Holmes in his prime was a bad dude, but I'm saying push, guys. I can't even think about that. Like, honestly, who wins that fight? I don't know. That's a war, though, man. That's a really great, brutal, cerebral chess match. Both guys are cerebral predators, and both guys are all-time great heavyweights. Both guys have outstanding jabs, which is the golden ticket for any heavyweight success. That's a tough one, guys. Yeah, guys, look, it makes no sense to put a heavyweight on the pound-for-pound list. It defeats the purpose of having a pound-for-pound list, guys. Right? It defeats the purpose. Hold on. When Crawford beats David Benavidez, then maybe he can. But look, that's not going to happen. He's not dumb enough to fight him. Beterbiev versus David would be a bloodbath, yeah, and it would be David's blood. That's an ugly, horrific, career-altering fight for David Benavidez, sad to say. To the fans of David Benavidez, honestly, I would love to see it. But I would like to see David Benavidez versus Dimitri Bivol first. To me, that's the more intriguing matchup. Beterbiev would whip the living snot out of David Benavidez. Guys, that once again, I'm going to go back to this. That's why you never hear Benavidez calling him out. You hear him calling out everyone else. You hear him calling out Canelo. You hear him calling out Bivol. You never hear him utter the name of Arthur Beterbiev ever. He never brings him up, and that's strategic, guys. Streets of Cali, dream fight, George Foreman versus Mike Tyson in their primes. Look, I'm sorry. With George Foreman's chin and how hard he hit in his prime, as long as you don't put it in Zaire. I love George Foreman in this. I love George Foreman in this fight. He was hitting you with tree trunks. Look, and here's something that Freddie Roach once told me. He was working mitts with both Vladimir Klitschko at one time, as well as Mike Tyson. And I asked him who punched harder. And he said easily Vladimir Klitschko. He said Mike Tyson would knock you out with quickness, with shots that you didn't see coming. But he wasn't the hardest puncher he'd ever worked mitts with. He said Vladimir was a much harder puncher. And Emmanuel Stewart agreed with me. He also said Deontay Wilder was a harder puncher than Mike Tyson. So now you know, guys. DeMarcus Hill says prime Lomachenko versus Shakur Stevenson. Guys, what weight division? Pick a weight. What weight? 130? 135? Because if it's at 130, I actually like Vasyl Lomachenko because of his offense and his footwork. That presents a lot of problems for Shakur Stevenson. Because if you try to counter a prime Vasyl Lomachenko, his footwork, his feints, his intelligent jab, his angles is going to give you fits. Just ask Gary Russell Jr. At 135, an older Lomachenko, Shakur has his way with him and dominates. Sonny Liston beats every heavyweight before him. Look, you can make that argument, guys. Sonny Liston, jab, chin, power. He had it all, and the guy was terrifying. That was a scary, scary man. When his mind was right and when he was focused, yeah, he was terrifying. He'd make you piss your pants before you ever got out of the ring. Good to see you, my friend. Joe, I can't believe Bud Shawshank Canelo like that. God bless Conti. Come on, brother. Hey, if you're not doing anything, share the air with me, my friend. Guys, it's my honor, my pleasure to introduce my nephew, Anthony Manzano. Anthony, how art thou, brother? How you doing today?
I'm doing well. My hair's going back at least.
Oh, well, God bless you, my friend. I tell you what, praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Here, hold on. DeMarcus Hill says 130, Loma versus Shakur. Then I'm sorry, guys. I have to favor Lomachenko.
I got one.
Let's hear it.
How about Loma versus at 130? Loma versus Lomachenko versus Chavez Sr.
At 130. Wow, that's a good fight. At 130, I like Chavez Sr. actually, man, because Lomachenko, in my opinion, it would look a lot like the Orlando Salido fight, but with Chavez throwing more creative combinations of the body and head, punishing Lomachenko. I like Chavez Sr. in that fight.
Joe, as soon as the fight finished, I'm not sure if you saw this already. Like as soon as the fight, Bud versus Canelo finished completely.
Yeah.
I was on Twitter. This is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard, or if people actually believe this nonsense that Canelo got exposed, Canelo's overrated, and he's not a Hall of Famer.
I'm sorry, Anthony. What were we telling you before the fight, dude?
Don't trust anything on Twitter.
Look, man. These fans, this is just an emotional reaction.
These are Bud Crawford. These are Bud Crawford fans that said this.
Oh gosh, then you know what? They're stupid. Look, Canelo, you cannot diminish or take anything away that he's done in the sport. He's been the biggest attraction, and he's a 4-division world champion, and he's beaten some very, very good fighters.
He's a crossover superstar.
You cannot take anything away from Canelo Alvarez. And Terrence Crawford, we told you guys leading into this fight, he was catching him at the right time. Did we not warn you, Anthony?
I had way too. I'm a Canelo fan. I admit I had way too much faith in Canelo.
Well, look, you had way too much faith in a prime Canelo. Unfortunately, that guy doesn't exist any longer. We told you, and you were like, no, weight divisions matter. Yes, they do, if you're still in your prime. But Terrence Crawford was catching him at the right time. Hold on, even baby crying version of Shakur, whoops, any version. Oh, stop it. 130? Stop it. You know what, you need to come on here and explain yourself why you would say that.
I got one. How about Bud Crawford at 140 versus Bud Crawford?
Hold on real quick. Hold that thought, Anthony. Slide and counter. Good to see you, man. Mike McCallum, the body snatcher, versus Terrence Bud Crawford at 54. That is a great fight, and I'm telling you why I favor Mike McCallum. Because even though Terrence Crawford is a razor-sharp counterpuncher, and that's the operative style, he couldn't handle the volume or the inside fighting of Mike McCallum, a brilliant, very deceptively intelligent inside fighter, throwing creative combinations of the body and head, and a very deceptively good defense. He was one of the smartest, one of the greatest junior middleweights of all time. Now, once again, that's not an old division, but he is top 5, Mike McCallum. Junior middleweights all time, guys.
Okay, I got
Maybe
at
even
168. At
guys.
168,
Look,
I have
I
him.
like Mike McCallum all day because once again, what happens to the southpaw advantage when you close the distance? It disappears. There is no southpaw advantage. Mike McCallum would take that away as early as round 1.
So, Joe, I have a question. How do you determine a fight when certain divisions was 168 around when guys like was 168 a division when Bernard Hopkins or Roy Jones were around, or they had to jump up to 175 from 160?
Do your research, brother. Look up Sugar Ray Leonard versus Donnie Lalonde, and you'll find the very first 168-pound super fight, right? So, yes, it existed.
Okay, I got one. You just brought up Donnie Lalonde. How about him versus a prime Canelo?
Oh, Canelo whoops his ass.
You like Donnie, but he has no chance.
No, Canelo would fold him like a lawn chair, guys. Now, remember, 168 seemed to be his prime weight when he was mowing through very good fighters like Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders undefeated, Caleb Plant undefeated, whooped his ass, and just mowed through all of those guys. It was really impressive. That's why everyone unwisely favored him against Dimitri Bivol. And we told you guys he had no chance of beating Dimitri Bivol. This was the worst possible style matchup for him at the time. And stupid Eddie Hearn went through with the fight anyway. Hold on. We're going to get to all these guys. And yes, Michael Montero's an ignorant douche. Merge Bivol and Beterbiev together and put them against. You would have to merge them together, morph them together to beat a prime Roy at 75. No one was beating a prime Roy at 75. Guys, that I'm sorry, but Roy in his prime was probably, in my opinion, the best I've ever seen in my lifetime besides Floyd Mayweather Jr. Right?
I got one at cruiserweight. If you
Hawker, stop, guys. Stop. Because even a 41-year-old Arthur Beterbiev, if he can still punch and if he still has a decent chin and he's still in great physical condition, beats David Benavidez. That's the worst possible style matchup, guys. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Martin, good to see you, my friend. Everyone has been saying Canelo was in the decline since the Plant fight. No, it was, why did everyone favor him against Bivol then? It's easy to play revisionist historian, guys, but come on, let's be real. He was a 5-1 betting favorite against Dimitri Bivol. Stop it.
I got one at cruiserweight if you want, Joe. James Toney versus Usyk.
At cruiserweight?
Yep.
Man, that is a great fight, guys. Because did you guys, if you guys have never seen this fight, do yourself a favor and look it up. It was fight of the year. It was the Tiger. James Toney versus his gold medalist. I forgot his name. He's a gold medalist from Russia, the Tiger. Let me look it up real quick, guys. My apologies.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his
it's
real
in
name.
my mind, guys. Oh, Vasily Shirov. Thank you, Slide and Counter. Guys, honestly, that was one of the best fights I've seen in the past 30 years. And Emmanuel Stewart was making the call, and he agreed with me. He's like, man, I would love to see another 5 of those. Yeah, James Toney versus Vasily Shirov. That version of James Toney gives Usyk problems all day long.
Are they the same style of fighter? You would say,
Listen, the version of James Toney who knocked out Evander Holyfield at heavyweight, that guy gives Usyk a boatload of problems. That guy. Martin, no, everyone was picking Canelo to beat Bivol. That's why it was a 5-1 betting favorite, Canelo. And it wasn't just casuals. Because I remember going on another channel just to say hi, and they asked me what my prediction was. And I said, guys, honestly, I can't see how Canelo wins this fight. And everyone laughed at me. And this was supposed to be a forum of diehard fans. Hold on. Canelo blew it by trying to use the exact same game plan. Look, yeah, somewhere along the way, he fell in love with his power. And he stopped trying to put together combinations and work for all 3 minutes of every round. Look, but give Beeble credit. It was the footwork and the intelligent jab that beat him. He had no idea how to collapse the pocket, to close the distance, and cut off the ring effectively against a guy with arguably the best footwork in boxing. Guys, look, Dimitri Bivol is a bad dude, and he is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in boxing. Yep, Vasily Zhirov was a bad dude, man. I loved watching the Tiger fight. He was all action. Guys, he would throw, on average, between 90 and 100 punches per round. He would overwhelm you. An old-ass Evander. Yes, he was older. But James Toney, let me ask you something, DeMarcus. How many other people had knocked out an old-ass Evander? Did Lennox Lewis knock him out? Huh? Did Lennox Lewis? How about Sultan Bragimov? Did he knock him out? Who knocked out an old-ass Evander besides James Toney?
Yeah. I got one at 147, Joe. I got a Terrence Crawford versus Miguel Cotto.
Who? Repeat?
Miguel Cotto.
Versus whom?
Terrence Crawford.
Terrence Bud Crawford at 147 or 140?
147.
I like Terrence Crawford, but that's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. But look, man, Terrence Crawford just has too much in the toolbox. But that's
how about him versus Oscar at 147?
Hold on real quick. I actually like Oscar De La Hoya in that fight. Hold on. Usyk versus Ike Ibeabuchi. Thank you for bringing that up. In my opinion, Ike Ibeabuchi, the guy who beat David Tua, the guy who knocked out Chris Bird, that guy, he beats up Alexander Usyk and possibly stops him late. Yes, I said it. Andre Ward versus Bernard Hopkins at 168 in their primes. Honestly, guys, you couldn't pay me to see that fight. That is possibly the worst style matchup of all time. That would be a snooze fest. Two defensive-minded counterpunchers looking at each other, waiting for the other guy to commit first.
I got one. How about Benavidez versus?
Here, listen. If I had to choose, listen. Hold on, Anthony. If I had to choose, though, I would pick Bernard Hopkins because Andre Ward, a very smart fighter, and his understanding of range and distance is second to none. But he was an ugly fighter, just like Bernard Hopkins. It's like, dude, is that why you brought up that matchup? Because they're very similar? Like, honestly, that is probably the ugliest matchup, I think, maybe in the history of the super middleweight division. Like, that's an ugly matchup, guys.
I got one. Calzaghe versus Charlo.
Listen. Hold on. Alker Mustang says, Evander Holyfield says that James Toney was on. No shit. So was Evander Holyfield. You ever hear that saying, Hawker Mustang, it takes one to know one? Yeah.
I got one at 160, man. Joe. Charlo versus Calzaghe.
What?
Charlo, the bigger not.
Oh, dude, Calzaghe washes him, brother. Because you guys, you don't realize, and hopefully now you do after the Bud Crawford fight. And I talked about this last week. What makes Bud Crawford so difficult and such a tough out for everybody? Because when you think about it, he's not the quickest fighter. He doesn't have the best footwork. He doesn't have the most power. But one, he's very smart. One, he's ambidextrous. Two, he's ambidextrous. He can fight you from both sides. Mm-hmm. But his biggest asset is his will to win. He's a winner. Like, this is a guy who's so mentally strong. And especially if people say he can't do something. It's almost like, you know, have you seen that documentary on Michael Jordan? That's Terrence Crawford. He's got the same mindset where it's almost, I hate to say this, but it's almost psychotic. He wants to beat you at everything. Like, I don't care if it's a pie eating contest or if it's Snicker, what is it called? Snickerdoodle. Or
Canasta.
Whatever. Crawford wants to win. And he'll do everything it takes for him to win. Did you see, like I played last week, the dart competition, 301 between Terrence Crawford and Eddie Hearn. And he whooped Eddie Hearn in 301 darts. That guy, he wants to win at everything, where it's almost psychotic. That's his biggest asset, guys. That's his biggest asset. The boxing scholar says, thank you for hanging with us, Brandon. He says, Bud beats everyone on Floyd's record and him too. Look, I'll be honest. I don't know if he beats a prime Manny Pacquiao. I don't know if Bud Crawford beats a prime Manny Pacquiao. Honestly, I don't know. Look, I think he has trouble with a prime Jose Luis Castillo also, just because of the style matchup.
I got one at 175.
Hold on, we're still on Floyd's resume. Marcos Maidano is going to be a tough out too, because he can punch, and he would bait Terrence Crawford into a firefight. That's a good fight, guys. Styles make fights, guys. But I would favor Bud in all of those, except for a fight with Manny and Floyd.
How about him versus Oscar?
A prime Oscar De La Hoya at 47.
Yes.
I would favor Oscar De La Hoya as well.
Okay, I have one at a prime Sergey Kovalev versus Baturviev.
Hold on. Wait, I'm sorry. Repeat that, Anthony, please.
A prime Sergey Kovalev at 175 versus Dmitry Bivol.
Oh, Dmitry Bivol beats him up to the body and head.
Oh, no. Baturviev.
Both of them. I'll tell you this, though. Even though Bivol has the better footwork, Sergey Kovalev's footwork was really deceptively good.
Why does his footwork get underrated, Joe, do you think?
I'm sorry, who? What?
Why do you think Sergey Kovalev's footwork gets underrated a little bit?
Thank you for asking, Anthony. I was just about to get to it before you interrupted me. Just jiving, Anthony. Because do you remember when Bernard Hopkins fought him? They said,
I was too young. I didn't start watching boxing.
Okay, so listen. So he said, I'm going to beat him up. It's going to be like another Kelly Pavlik. And I said, no. Kovalev has much better footwork than the very flat-footed Kelly Pavlik. He was really good at moving in and out of the pocket, Sergey Kovalev, in his prime. Go look at the first Andre Ward fight, guys. I actually had Kovalev winning that. I actually had Kovalev winning that fight 7 rounds to 5. Kovalev in his prime was really, really good, which is why Javen Sugar Hill Stewart and Adonis Stevenson avoided him. Because Sergey Kovalev, his footwork was hard to deal with. He was really good at moving in and out of the pocket while keeping you at bay with your jab. And if you were a counterpuncher by trade, his jab was offsetting. And then he had a sledgehammer for a right hand. His chink in the armor was you had to go get in the inside. And as soon as you brought the fight to the inside, Sergey Kovalev was a donut fighter. That's why he depended on that good footwork. But if you're able to collapse the pocket on him, he had nothing on the inside. Nothing. He was a donut fighter. And I told Sugar Hill Stewart that and Adonis Stevenson, and they still didn't take the fight.
Joe, I have a question. Of the old school fighters, what would be like for? I'm gonna bring up Sebastian Fundora. Who would be for him specifically? His style, with how he fights. Who would be the best matchup for him out of the old school guys that you think he might have a chance of beating at 154?
Who?
Sebastian
Fundora.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think any, because he's too susceptible for hard counters. In my opinion, Tommy Hearns knocks his ass out silly. In my opinion, Mike McCallum chops him down like a freaking tree. In my opinion,
Sugar Ray.
Yeah, but even Roberto Duran roughs him up on the inside, guys. The guy who beat Davey Moore roughs his ass up at 54. Guys, look, Sebastian Fundora, he's coming into his prime, but we'll see, guys, how he fares if he ever fights the real guys at 54. If he ever fights Duran Boots Ennis. If he ever fights Bakram Murtazaliev. If he ever fights Virgil Ortiz. We'll see. But until that point, we really don't know, because look at Brian Mendoza. Knocked his ass out with that overhand right. Hawker Mustang has the beat here. First time for today. He said Crawford could have had a better career if he was with Al Heyman and he could have fought all those guys. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But, you could say, yeah, he could have had a better career if Al Heyman wasn't protecting his assholes. Those guys. Saying, oh, you need to come across the street. You know what, dude? Just put your guys in the ring. I hated that shit. That across the street guys. I will say this. Thank God for Turkey Al-Sheikh. When is the last time you've heard that across the street nonsense? Since Turkey Al-Sheikh has been in the business.
Never.
You haven't heard any of that nonsense. Thank you, Turkey Al-Sheikh. Because I hated that, man. Oh, you need to come across the street. You're on the wrong side of the street. You know what? Why don't you grow a pair and tell your advisor, no, I'm not fighting that. I want to fight this guy. I hated that, man.
I got a one at heavyweight, Joe. I want your opinion on this style matchup: Joe Frazier versus Vitaly Klitschko.
Oh, dude, don't say that. Look, I love Joe Frazier. Don't make me say it.
Vitaly. You have Vitaly.
Dude, look. If it's a healthy Vitaly Klitschko, Vitaly pieces him up and possibly stops him late. And that pains me to say it, guys. I love Joe Frazier. That guy was all heart. And he was all balls, man. And he left it all in the ring. He was a credit to the sport and such a nice, affable guy. And everyone loved him.
How about a healthy Vitaly versus George Foreman?
Ooh, I'd have to say Vitaly Klitschko too, man. There aren't many guys that beat Vitaly Klitschko because he was so deceptively smart.
You don't think even Muhammad
way to beat you?
You don't think even Muhammad beats him?
No. Vitaly's too big, too strong, too smart. Honestly, Vitaly, guys. Now
is the better of the brothers.
No. Listen to me, Anthony. This is how you can tell Terrence Crawford is a great, all-time great fighter. How many rounds has he lost in his entire career, guys?
Like 60?
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm being, honestly,
Anthony, listen to the question again. How many rounds has he lost in his entire career, Terrence Crawford?
Maybe 20.
Maybe. Like, honestly, go back and look at his fights. I don't see him losing very many rounds.
Even at 140, I thought he lost a few rounds.
No, dude. He didn't spend enough time at 140. Like, honestly, I don't know if he lost a round at 140. Guys, and so go back and look at Vitaly Klitschko's career. How many rounds did Vitaly Klitschko actually lose in his entire career?
The only time he lost was Shannon Briggs.
No. Stop it, Anthony. He lost to Lennox Lewis, and the only reason why he lost that fight was because of that cut over the eye. He was winning that fight on all the judges' scorecards at the time of the stoppage. And look at the Chris Bird fight. He was winning on all the judges' scorecards on the Chris Bird fight as well. Those are his only 2 losses. He was dominant to the point where it wasn't fair. That's why I'm saying a prime, healthy Vitaly Klitschko. Honestly, not very many guys beat him. He is an all-time great.
So you think it's easier to beat Vladimir than it's Vitaly?
Hell yes. And guys, it's because of the mind. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. What makes Terrence Crawford so tough is his will to win, his mind. He's so mentally strong. Guys, that's what makes Usyk so tough, is he's mentally strong. But to say that Usyk beats Vitaly Klitschko, you're high on crack. Guys, go back and watch Vitaly beat everybody. Guys, both Vladimir in his prime as well as Vitaly in his prime beat up and possibly stop Alexander Usyk. Especially Vitaly. Now, the Vladimir fight is much tougher because he's a counterpuncher by trade, and he would force Usyk, or he'd force Vladimir out of the pocket. But Vitaly had no problem taking the lead. He had no problem moving around the pocket and using lateral movements. He showed that against Chris Arreola.
Take her out the booth.
Guys, Vitaly Klitschko was a bad dude, unfortunately, because he took steroids. Hey, I want to thank Anthony for being on with me. DeMarcus Hill. Dude, I'm sorry to hear that. Dude, dude, I do ministry work, man. If you need help with that, if you have problems with addiction, man, call me. Okay? Or message me. Seriously. I don't know if you're joking or not, but that's nothing to joke about. But I do ministry work, so I'm here for everybody. Yeah, Vitaly had very good distance management. Yes, he did. He was deceptively good. Deceptively good. Stop it. Bone Crusher Smith? You mean the guy who slow danced with Mike Tyson? Stop it. Vitaly is big but doesn't have the power. He didn't need it. He didn't load up. He wasn't a one-punch guy. He was an accumulation guy. He understood that his hands were big and heavy enough where all he had to do was touch you with it with volume, and he broke you down. And he made your face look like mole. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, DeMarcus. God bless you, my friend. Stay close to Jesus, brother. And I'm glad you're joking around, man. But that's nothing to joke around about. But I'm glad to hear that. God bless you, Marcus. Look, guys. Hold on. Naoya Inoue versus Alfredo Gomez at 120. Wow. I have to say no. Well, at 122, I would have to say Gomez. Naoya Inoue, that's not his natural weight. Naoya Inoue's natural weight was 115 and 115. Guys, that's what makes Naoya Inoue such a freak. He is whooping guys at 122. Natural 22-pounders. Naoya Inoue started out at the Collazo weight, the guy that we just saw on Saturday. He is a minimum weight guy. He's a straw weight guy. And he's been whooping everyone. And he's now competing at 122. His natural weight division is 15. You could possibly say 18. But it's 15, guys. So I would have to favor Gomez, to be honest. But I tell you what, guys, we've been almost for 90 minutes. Hey, thank you guys, though. I really, really enjoyed hearing the mythical matchup stuff. Uh-oh. Larry Holmes versus Vitali. I'm assuming you're saying Vitali, right? Because Larry Holmes gives a boxing lesson to Vladimir Klitschko. Well, because of styles. He had more dog in him than Vladimir. But Vitali, that guy was as mean as it gets and mentally strong. He had that same stuff that Bud Crawford has. Marvin Hagler. All those mean badasses. Roberto Duran, mentally strong. Tommy, mentally tough, mentally strong. Sugar Ray Leonard, mentally strong. Floyd Mayweather, mentally strong. He's got that same stuff. Larry Holmes and Klitschko both. Vitali, I'm referring to. Vitali, Larry Holmes. Guys, I would have to say push. Look, to be honest, Larry Holmes, I'd have to say, was the more athletically gifted. And in his prime would probably outwork and find a way to beat Larry Holmes. But it wouldn't be easy. Vitali was a bad dude. But I would have to choose Larry Holmes. Wow. You're talking about two all-time great heavyweights who came up in relatively soft eras. In the 80s, when Larry Holmes was in his prime, I mean, he fought some tough guys, but it was a lackluster era. It wasn't like the 90s or the 70s. And the same with Vitali Klitschko. He came up in a relatively soft era. That's why he rarely lost rounds, guys. Like, go back and show me one fight where he loses 3 or 4 rounds. It didn't happen, guys. Vitali Klitschko was a machine. Lance Meyer, good to see you, my friend. I've been tuning for WaraWeek Boxing, just been putzing around, walking the dog. Good to see you, my friend. God bless you, Lance. Thank you for being here. But guys, it's going to be, hold on. Ring Talk, good to see you, my friend. Do you think Canelo will face Hamzat Shiraz next? In the immortal words of Vince McMahon, you've got no chance in hell for that fight to happen. Hawker Mustang says Vladimir was more athletic. Yes, he was. And a better boxer from a distance. Yes. But Vitali was a better fighter, had more dog in him. Yes, he had that mean streak. And also, he was mentally stronger. Vladimir, if you put pressure on him and made the fight difficult, he folded mentally. He was weak mentally. He almost looked like he was afraid at times. Vitali Klitschko would whoop your ass. He would figure you out. Give him 2 or 3 rounds. Go back and look at the Corey Sanders fight. The guy who smoked Vladimir like a cheap cigar. When Vitali fought him, it was the same Corey Sanders. Corey Sanders, man, he caught Vitali. Guys, go back and look at the first round. Corey Sanders would try to bait you on the ropes. He would slide laterally on the ropes and try to bait you and try to slip and counter effectively. And he did that to Vitali. He rocked him back. And Vitali never went down, figured him out, figured out his timing and rhythm, and just beat him up mercilessly. Like unmercilessly, just beat him up, guys. You know what? You can argue that because Vitali went to one knee. You could argue that, guys. Sanders was a bad dude. He was a southpaw with heavy hands, fluid movement, quick. Dude, that's why no one wanted to fight Corey Sanders. He was another guy who was largely viewed as too much risk for the reward. And unfortunately, Vladimir found out the hard way why. And dude, go watch the first 3 rounds of Vitaly Klitschko versus Corey Sanders. Guys, that is a truly great heavyweight fight for the first 3 rounds, and slide and counter as the beat. Vitaly figured him out and destroyed him after that. That's what I mean, guys. Vitaly was deceptively smart. He would figure out your timing, your movement, your rhythm. And he would figure out how to beat you from any range. He was that good, guys. And once again, go back and think. Go look at his resume. How many rounds did he actually lose total? That's a great fighter, guys. When you can count on just 2 hands how many rounds he lost in his entire career, that's incredible. And that deserves mention. Vitaly was a deceptively smart heavyweight. And one of the best I've ever seen in my lifetime. Unfortunately, he was in a soft era. I would have loved to have seen how he would have fared in the 90s. Because I tell you what, he would have fared a lot better than Vladimir in the 90s. And guys, once again, that's what makes Bud Crawford so great. It's his mental toughness, his will to win. Vitaly had that. So did Larry Holmes. So did Muhammad Ali. That's what makes great fighters so great. And so did Marvin Hagler. That's what made great fighters so great. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Yeah, slide and counter. Like, honestly, aside from the 70s, it was the greatest decade for heavyweight boxing. Aside from the 70s. Like, even the B-level matchups were wars. Like, do you remember Corey T-Rex Sanders versus Oleg Moskayev? Dude, that was a freaking war, man. It was beautiful. That was amazing, guys. Guys, go back and look at those fights. Oh, my gosh, dude. And then compare them to this era. Like, all you have to say is, plop Usyk in the 90s and just go one by one of the top fighters in the 90s in the heavyweight division. And ask yourself, does Usyk beat those guys? Like, think about this. Big Daddy Riddick Bowe in his prime. Does Usyk beat that guy? How about Ike Ibeabuchi? How about David Tua? Does he beat those guys? A prime Evander Holyfield. A prime Mike Tyson. A prime Lennox Lewis. Does he beat those guys? I don't know, guys. I don't know if he beats any of those guys. Now, once again, they're tough fights. Usyk he can hold his own in any division. But I think slide and counter, yeah, we're on the same wavelength. Because I think Usyk loses to all of the guys that I just mentioned in the 90s. And I don't think I'm wrong in feeling that way. Guys, the 90s, that was a truly great era for heavyweight boxing. Like, all of those matchups were just gold, man. Like, dude, go back and watch Andrew Golota versus Big Daddy Bowe. Go back and watch Hasim Rahman versus Oleg Moskayev. All of those matchups were amazing. Go back and watch Corey Sanders versus Hasim Rahman. Guys, they were all gold wars. That was by far, aside from the 70s, the very best era of heavyweight boxing. And I think Usyk would have a very hard time with every single one of those guys. But, guys, it's already 94 minutes in, guys. I'm going to leave you on that note. But God bless all of you guys, and thank you for hanging with me today. And if you missed any part of the Rick Glaser segment, please rewind and go back and listen to it. It was Rick being Rick, of course. doing his victory lap and celebrating for the Bud Crawford win. And guys, once again, man, I just, honestly, I just wish these fighters had the same balls and mental toughness from the guys of the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. That's why Bud Crawford and Usyk stand out in this era. In my opinion, and once again, they're great fighters. They're all-time great fighters. And you could plop them in any era and they could hold their own, but I don't think they win. But they would hold their own, but they're taking advantage of mediocre eras. Guys, these guys are kids. They're kids, they're children compared to how tough those guys used to be. And I think Bud Crawford and both Alexander Usyk are taking advantage of weak-minded eras. But anyway, guys, you can go ahead and ponder on that, man. That's my opinion. But guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with me. God bless all of you guys. And we will see you tomorrow for Real Boxing with Ronnie Shields. God bless all of you guys. Have a happy Monday evening, everybody.
How you doing? You too can smell manly if you listen to Real Talk with Rick Glaser.